Good evening, guys. It's Stephen here, back with another video. The day after Manchester City's 1-0 win over West Ham. It was a glorious game of football. It was a tense game of football, but it was a 1-0 battering in my humble opinion. If you haven't already as well, make sure to watch my match reaction video. I'll put a link to it on screen somewhere around about now. And also, don't forget to check out that vlog I did in the Carabao Cup final because it was really, really good. And I want to give a shout out to my Patreon as well, patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany. If you want to get involved and help, one day, maybe hope, this channel can be full-time, you can go over there and look at the tiers involved. If you don't, carry on watching these videos. I'll love you all the same anyway. But yeah, today we're going to look at 5 things that we learned from this game because it was a really intriguing game of football. I thought it was there was lots of little lessons to learn from it and loads of little talking points. I'm going to start initially with Vincent Kompany. Yes, there's life in that old dog. Yeah, I thought he was really, really good yesterday. Now, we all know Vincent Kompany is a fantastic footballer, but the only problem he's had really are his legs, really. He's just injury prone as anything. What I liked about Vincent Kompany yesterday, and in general, is that he has this ability to just kind of slot back into the team, even when he's not played for a long time, and just show how valued he is. It seems as he gets older, and even when he plays less, his experience speaks more volumes when he get on the pitch, because you can visibly see how comfortable the team are when he's around. It's like they don't take him for granted anymore. I'm not saying they did in the first place, but when he's there, it's notable that he's actually there, and he's leading the team. And also, what I say, his passing, breaking the lines was absolutely excellent. I thought across the back four in general, and I think Vincent Kompany set the tone on this. The passing from Danilo, Kompany to Mendy, Zinchenko was really, really strong. I think it was one of our strongest assets in the game during the day. And Kompany in particular was a player that didn't always necessarily have that in his locker to that extent. He was good at it. I'm not going to say he wasn't bad at it because obviously at one point he played in midfield too. But he was really good last night. Some of his passes were really crisp, really progressive. They put City on the front foot. And Vincent Kompany continues to be an important member of the squad. Now, I really hope that we once again offer him a contract. I don't care if he's injury prone. I don't care if we only wheel him out for 15 games a season. He's still Vincent Kompany. And his strength, if he wants to be in the squad still, that is, and his strength around this team is absolutely critical for Manchester City Football Club. 100% if he wants to be here next season, let him be here because he's just too good. He's too important, and his value around his team, you can't really put a price on that. Now, the second point for me is about Riyad Mahrez. Yeah, well, I felt so sorry for him yesterday because I thought he really tried, and people will say, you're meant to try, you're a footballer, and blah, blah, blah. It's the minimum you can expect from him. Well, yes, obviously. But I personally won't ever get too harshly on the back of someone who's trying. I think it's just in general a thing. I'll support anyone in a blue shirt as long as they give their all. And I think Mahrez actually weirdly yesterday showed some signs of what he could actually be, despite not having a good game of football. I know it sounds weird, but I thought yesterday he was actually hugging the touchline a bit more than he usually does. I thought some of the ideas that he had were actually quite decent, just didn't come off with De Bruyne. And I think there was lots of signs of someone who looked like they could link up with De Bruyne well, but they just weren't on the same wavelength. Now, you've got to consider the fact that De Bruyne and Mahrez have barely played together because De Bruyne was out for most of the season and Mahrez has been out of favour largely since Kevin De Bruyne got back. So those two were understandably going to be a bit of a different wavelength. But there are some worrying signs, obviously. Now, the caveats are that people will say, it takes a while to learn Guardiola's system and all this kind of stuff, and I agree with that. On the flip side, by this point now, Bernardo and Sane were largely in the full swing of things, and it feels like actually it feels like Mahrez has gone backwards a little bit, actually. I think he started better than his current form, which is probably understandable given the fact he's not played much recently, but it was meant to be easier for Mahrez. It was meant to be kind of comfortable because he's a former player of the year, because he knows the Premier League, because he speaks English, because he's a bit older than those two were when they signed. It was meant to be easier, and now it's turned out it's a lot harder. And obviously, given the fact that there was a record transfer Manchester City Football Club, in the grand schemes of things, 60 million isn't that a lot these days, but he still was a record transfer. There was added pressure, and given the fact that some people would blame him for the likes of Sancho and Raheem leaving, saying it wasn't not necessarily directly his fault, but the fact that we pursued him, maybe it meant those who didn't want to stay. So people were blaming him for that as well. So essentially, he's got a very hard deal, and obviously because he missed that. He missed the penalty against Liverpool. It's been very tough for him. For me, I'm willing to give him more time. I think we have to. I think weirdly there was some good signs yesterday. Some stuff come off. He would have been quite good. I do think he had the fullback on toast when he wanted to. But it's just not working for him. And I think he looked like a player who knew that. And he looked like he had his head dropped towards the end of that game. And some of the stuff that didn't go right for him, like little things where the ball just bounced off his foot, that isn't Mahrez. Mahrez, obviously, he's better than that. He's clearly not that level of shit. He can control the ball, he can pass the ball, and all that kind of stuff. And he can finish as well. But it's just not happening. And sometimes when you're not confident, these things happen. Mahrez, essentially, we need to I think he needs a bit of time, essentially. I don't think we're going to write him off yet, rightfully so. He won't go in the summer or anything like that. Mahrez could be a longer-term project if there's anything there at all. Two people who aren't going anywhere and definitely aren't a longer-term project are Bernardo, Silva and Raheem Sterling. These two are unequivocally our first-choice wingers at the moment. I thought they had the kind of step up in quality when those two came in was absolutely noticeable. I love Leroy Sané, and I think Mahrez is a good player. But at the moment, Bernardo and Sterling, they bring an incisiveness and intelligence and an eagerness to score goals that the other two aren't quite at that same level yet. Sané definitely is at the level. He's just not playing that well in form. And for me, the things that changed immediately with Sterling is he has this desire to attack the back post and score goals, and he has a desire to cut in and shoot, and he's really good at that. And his pace terrifies defenders, and his urgency and the way he plays. He has a seniority to his game now. He's obviously buzzing, given the fact that he's in the form of his life. He's scored a winning goal in the Carabao Cup final, and he just is undroppable. Genuinely undroppable. I mean, obviously you can drop him. I mean, you can technically put him on the bench, but that's because he's tired. We all know that. But at the moment, he's like the first name on the team sheet kind of stuff. Likewise with Bernardo. The thing that stuck out for me yesterday when Bernardo came on, and I'm not using this to slate Mahrez, I'm just saying as a matter of fact, and this would be the same with players even playing at their very best, but there'd be a level below Bernardo, is that Bernardo, he just moves the ball so quickly. He has this incredible technique to play first time 1-2s. He's very direct and aggressive the way he runs with the ball. I'm not saying he's the fastest, but his energy and his speed of thought is so good that he's another like Sterling, that when those two play, we just look so much more likely to score because they bring a dynamism and an urge and a kind of insatiability to want to score goals that maybe not all the forwards had last night. And to me, they're just our first choice at the moment, and that's a credit to them. I think Bernardo's long-term future is in the middle, as we all know, but he's just so good pretty much wherever he plays, and those two are just on another level. We're so lucky to have them. I also want to talk about the mentality. Now, Guardiola before the game was quite bold in the press conference. He talked a lot about how he wanted to see and smell a hunger from the players in terms of that they want to win the Premier League. And he said afterwards that he got that he sensed that. And I actually agree. I thought City, apart from maybe some indecisiveness in front of goal, were really good last night. They only had one chance, which is, it happens. West Ham, Premier League team, have some good players, and good players will create a chance in football in 90 minutes. And that happened. But other than that, it was essentially a 1-0 battering. On another day, that could have been a 5-6-0 victory. It's just one of those games where it doesn't go in. The expected goals thing was off the chart. And usually when you compare that level of expected goals compared to what it was last night, you know we average about 3 or 4 goals a game. So we definitely were creating chances. We were definitely the better team. And I really liked the attitude and the energy from the players last night. Even the ones who didn't play that well, I think in general they all turned up and they all put in a shift at very least. There was no complacency. I don't think there was any lack of focus or anything like that. I think after 120 minutes at Chelsea, some of those players had a right to be absolutely exhausted. But the fact that Aguero was still running when he came off, it says it all about the player at the moment and about the mentality of this squad in general. Every single one of them are committed to winning trophies for Manchester City, and we've got people like Danilo coming in, doing a great job, and Otamendi and Kompany stepping up and seeing no drop off in level from the likes of Laporte and Stones. And that's all about this team and the harmony within it. I think Guardiola's got a bunch of players here who are really focused. He's got them competing for places. He's got them knowing that if they do play well, they'll get in the first team. That there is a genuine competition for places. No one is untouchable at the moment, and that really does kind of pervade through the squad. And it's really nice. Even seeing like Foden come on, and his attitude when he came on was really good. I love the fact that he came on, by the way, even though it was only 10 minutes, but the game wasn't over yet, and it was nice that he got involved in some meaningful football. But his attitude was great, and the team at the moment, they're just there. They're in the right spot. And hopefully if we get through Bournemouth and Watford, we should get through to the international break and get maybe 1 or 2 of our players back. But they're playing so well at the moment. And finally, I want to talk about maybe some new first choice fullbacks. Zinchenko, once again, after the Wembley game, was excellent. He must be loving life at the moment because his desire, his confidence, he's absolutely coursing through him. And you could see last night how good he's become as a footballer, and not as a footballer, well, as a fullback in general. He's always a nice, tidy footballer, but now he's added this steeliness to his game. And I love the fact that he's just getting stuck in and winning the ball off wingers. We saw it against Callum Hudson-Odoi, we saw it against Chelsea's wingers. We saw it last night against Mikel Antonio as well, a very fast, strong player, and he was just out-muscling him and being more tenacious and winning the ball and even putting his foot in the area, which I'm so scared of any of our fullbacks doing, but he was good at it. He's obviously kind of marrying that as well to an increased ability to overlap and get forward, and given the fact he's got a really sweet left foot, some of the ping diagonal balls to Mahrez were really useful. They didn't just look good, they were actually useful because they isolated the defender one-on-one, and overall, he he is a shining example for any young player, any squad player, what can happen if you just stick around and work really hard. His attitude is absolutely phenomenal. And at the moment, to me, he's our first choice left back. It's as simple as that. Mendy, obviously, is probably the heir to that throne, but he's never fit. Delph is not at the level he was last season. And Zinchenko is getting there. He's getting there. He's left-footed. He's getting stronger. He's getting faster. I don't think he's faster, but he's definitely sharper to fall because he's more confident, he's more focused, maybe more comfortable position. And fair play to him. And I thought Danilo went under the radar last night as well. I thought he was excellent. He was strong in the tackle. He burst forward. He was unlucky not to have a great assist for Aguero, who had stepped 1 metre offside a bit too quickly. But he added so much to the team in terms of his dynamism and his energy. And we forget how good Danilo actually is as a footballer. You know, this is a guy who's won Champions Leagues. This is a guy who's won an absolute shed load of trophies because he's so experienced, because he's so versatile. And once again, he's a person probably in slightly better form than Kyle Walker at the moment. And I like Walker. I think Walker's a good player. But it just shows how blessed we are to have these players, the likes of Kompany and Otamendi, who can step in and do really well. The likes of Sane and Mahrez as our backup, I'm sorry, but they're still bloody good backups, wingers at the moment. And then Zinchenko and Danilo coming in and being absolutely no drop off the level of what usually would be our first choice fullbacks. It's quality. And those two, to me, put in a very good argument to say they'll start the weekend as well. And I suspect probably will do. It's a really good time to be able to, isn't it? Genuinely. I know I say that all the time, but I'm running out of different ways to say it. But anyway, guys, that's just 5 things I learned from the video. I want to know what you made of the game last night. Don't forget as well, go check out my video from last night as well. I want to say thank you to all these people scrolling down on this side of me here. These are my patrons. I always get the side wrong. I'm hoping I've got it right. Or is it this side of me? Probably this side, isn't it? I don't know. I never do. I never know. I'm really bad at this. It's because it flips it and all that kind of stuff. But these guys keep this channel going. Thank you very much. You want to get involved, patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany. Get a shout out on the video. Get involved in Discord group and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I've been Stephen. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you are new. And also go check out a video I made for footy.com, where I work my day job, where we looked at the new night deal. The new Puma deal. The night deal's over. It's over. It's gone. The Puma deal, the £650 million deal. For me, it's good news. It's a lot of money, part of the CFG group. I'm indifferent to Puma, but it's fun to have something different. That's the way I see it. And a 10-year deal that strengthens the team's finances is no bad thing for me. But go watch a video I made for them in a more in-depth nature over there. And there'll be loads of stuff to talk about and all that kind of stuff, what you can expect from Puma. Bye-bye.